So, my dear friends, tonight we're going to discuss one topic, one oath, and the topic tonight is called Tohu and Tikkun.
Tohu?
Tohu.
Tohu. Like Tohu?
Yeah. And Tikkun. Now, what's interesting is, in Hebrew, the translation of Tohu is Tohu. It's like a disaster, like a... It's like like you say tohu vavohu. In the Torah it says va'aretz haisa tohu vavohu. The chaos, chaotic, yeah. Choshech al pnei Sahayim was dark. That's how the world was. And then vayom Elokim yehi or, and Hashem said there should be or. So he wants. No. That's above. He's above Tohu. So now what happens is we have a problem. The world started off Tohu vavohu. It was a catastrophic beginning, and then Hashem said there should be light. So it means it's like almost like the world started off in the wrong foot, and it was dark, and then Hashem says be light. So Kabbalah says that there's two worlds. There's the world of Tohu, and there's a world of Tikkun. Why does the Torah say first Tohu? When you read the creation, it says Tohu, and then it says Vayom Elokim Hior, because Tohu comes first, higher. After Tohu, there was a disaster, as we'll soon see, catastrophic, and now comes Tikkun, which is Vayom Elokim Yehi Or. God said there should be light, Vayehi Or. So that's the Tikkun of Tohu. So now the question is, what is it? What is this Tohu? So I'll give you a little nice illustration. You ever made like a puzzle that has like 1,000 pieces to it?
Yeah.
Or 2,000 pieces? You made one?
Yeah.
So when you take the puzzle with 1,000 pieces, so you have 1,000 pieces, and you put it all together, it brings out a certain theme. Whatever the puzzle, when you put everything together, it brings out, whether it's a picture, whether it's a message, whatever a puzzle brings out. However, what happens if this puzzle, you take it apart? So you have now 1,000 pieces. Every piece on its own, what is it? Meaningless. But when all these pieces are together, you have now a ganze Megillah, a nice, beautiful message. So the world of Tohu is a very interesting world. It's a puzzle that broke into millions of infinite pieces. And now that it broke to so many pieces, you don't see the energy is gone . And our job is, interesting, our job in this world is to put the puzzle back together. And when you put all those pieces together, you bring not only Tohu back, but you elevate it to a much higher level than it was before it was a broken puzzle. In other words, you have a puzzle that's together, then you have the puzzle that's broken into all the pieces as separate, and then there is putting it back together.
But isn't the world that we are living right now is the full puzzle? Because that's a creation. God said it was
Tohu
the puzzle that was broken. And now God said will be light or whatever in the creation and everything else. That's it. Here's the puzzle.
Okay.
Now you see the picture.
So the thing is like this. There is two parts of this puzzle. There's one part that the puzzle broke into millions of pieces, and then Hashem put it together.
Okay.
But there's pieces that are still lost, and our job is to fix and put it together. Now, let me just say two things. what is the difference between a puzzle when it's together or it's broken to pieces? When it's together, it has a very deep meaning. It could be a beautiful art, a beautiful design, a beautiful, it's a very powerful message. When it's broken into pieces, you don't even know that there was ever a message here. So what's the world of Tohu? Let me explain to you what a word. The world of Tohu has also 10 levels. The 3 intellectual, which is Chachma, Bina, Das, and the 7 emotional, which is Chesed, Gevura, Teferes, Netzach. They have the same thing, but I'll tell you what happened there. In the world of Tohu, it was too much light. Listen to the point of too much light. What does it mean, too much light? It's called Orot Merubim. Or Merubim. Merubim. It's a lot, a tremendous meruba, too much light. And what happens? When there's too much light, the vessels can't hold it. So it broke, and now this is the little pieces of the puzzle. And when it broke, what does it mean it broke? It means that this energy that was contained in this vessel is now spread out into this world, and all the negative gets that energy. And we have to now take that and bring it back to holiness.
It's not in a vessel anymore.
Right. Therefore, since it's like fragmented pieces that had energy in it. It's when you buy a liquor, it's right on the bottle. It's sherry cask. What's sherry cask mean? That these the barrel that had the liquor, the whiskey in it used to be for wine. No, you know what I'm talking about, no?
Yeah. It used to be for wine and they use it for whiskey.
So now they... No, but it depends if it's kosher wine. So, but the point here is, what's the point? They say, listen, there's no more wine in here, but the fact that this is going to sit in these casks, it gives a taste into the whiskey that it enhances the
combination of the root and the wine that was before.
That was it. It gives a very, very special. It's smoky. It's a very special. Yeah. So now these vessels that broke. Remember, there was a lot of energy. There was a lot of energy in here. Now these vessels broke. These vessels have that taste of that old good wine and light that used to be there. From that, they give energy to all these negative things that exist into this world. The more lower negative it is, the higher level it came from the broken vessels. So when you see like a real negative thing, it fell so low. In order to fall so low, it had to be banged from a high level. It's like I have to shoot something like with an arrow. The more I pull the rope string back, the further it goes distance. So when these vessels broke, the higher vessels that broke fell lower, and they're now so low, and our job is to bring it back and fix the puzzle.
It was broken. In Atzilut?
Above Atzilut.
Above Atzilut.
Yeah, above. Because this is Tohu before Tikkun. Yeah. Tikkun is Atzilut. Now, what does it mean practically? Let me give you a practical example. Let's take Chesed, because Chesed is kindness. Let's take kindness of Tohu versus kindness of Tikkun, which is Atzilut. Let me explain to you. Yeah. In kindness of Tohu, it's such kindness that they don't even have the ability of having discipline. It's just good.
Ultimate.
It's just I'm giving and giving and giving and good and good and good and good to the point that even if you're a person that doesn't deserve it, they'll give it to you anyway.
Yeah.
Not only that, even if you're a negative person, they'll give it to you. They're so good they don't know how to not be good.
There's no negative there.
And therefore, it could break because it's too much good. It's almost like you're giving your car keys to your 3-year-old child. I love him. I'm so good to him. Here is the keys. Oh, how could I say no? My 3-year-old child is asking for the keys. I want to have the keys. Tohu doesn't have a limit. What? And therefore, the 10 spheres of Tohu is called Ze Tachazeh. What do you mean Ze Tachazeh? Chachma is here. I'm saying about Tohu.
Down there,
No, Chachma is here. Bina is here. Das is here. Chesed is here. There's no merging. In other words, each Sphira is its own entity and can't understand the other one and can't merge with the other one. Let's take Gevura. It's so Gevura that it doesn't leave any room for any Chesed. It's too much. What happened? The vessel's broke. What it broke? It's too much and it doesn't work. So then Hashem created Atzilut. What's Atzilut? This is Tikkun. Atzilut Tikkun means like this. The light is much less, but the vessels are much bigger. So what happens is, in Chesed of Atzilus, it has in it also Gevura. So it's not just ultimate kindness. The kindness has a limit. I'm kind, but up to a point.
It's restricted.
And therefore, sometimes I have Gevura. The Gevura of Chesed has also some Gevura of Atzilus has also some Chesed in it. So I'm not totally, tough. There is some kindness to it. It's called merging the spheres one with another. It's called memutakot. We sweeten it because we're merging each. So in basically, if you look at, you ever heard of nikudot?
Yeah.
The vowels that you have on the letters like kamatz, aleph, nikud. They don't call it nikud? Okay. So you have segol, and you have shava, or shuruk. A shuruk, it's one dot on top of another.
Yeah.
Segol is 1, 2, 3. There's a triangle. It merges together.
Yeah.
In Tohu, there's no merging. It's one dot on top of another, like a shuruk. A segol means that all 3 dots are connected. Because when you have a triangle, it all becomes one. It's like when you want to connect 2 things together. If you have 2 separate things,
there is no center. There is nothing. It's like a circle.
Exactly.
The shuruk is open all the way.
And it's one on top of another. That's Tohu. Tohu means there's no merging one with another. Everyone is totally infinite. No one could handle the other, and it's a disaster. It breaks.
Talk about Tanta today?
Huh?
We're going to talk about the Tagim.
No, but I'm bringing out the point just for you to understand. Now, why are we so important for us to know about Tohu and Tikkun? We said last week that there's 2 ways to bring down the energy of Hashem, which is called Shchora, Ani, Venava. One is the positive mitzvahs, and the second level is the prohibitions. And we said there's a lot more prohibitions what not to do than the positive what yes to do. You remember we spoke about that. So we ended off last week that if you want to reach the higher level of Hashem is by the prohibitions, the not doing, you reach higher than the yes doing. So today we're going to explain why. Why is it that by not doing, I'm getting in a higher level than by the yes doing? Like, basically means like this. When I put on tefillin, it's one level. When I don't speak gossip, it's a higher level. Why is not speaking gossip, meaning I hold myself in, and I don't say gossip, why am I reaching a higher level of godliness than putting on tefillin, which is a positive?
Fighting your nature.
So he's going to show you that the not, comes from Tohu, which is the world that's above Tikkun. And the higher the no is, the higher it comes from Tohu, and therefore the energy of God is much higher. And if the energy of God is much higher, that's why the no is a much higher level. That's what we're going to speak about today. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your question?
No, I think it sank. I think I understand where you're coming from, because in Jewish, everything good that you do, if you do it beseter, it's more good, which means like you don't do. For example,
Not like you're doing something that no one knows you do.
For example, if you do chesed, but you do it beseter, so you don't need the credit for it, you don't need others to see, it's considered higher. The same with giving and donation.
Okay, so you're saying the fact when I do something, I make sure no one knows I did it.
Because you do it for yourself.
Okay.
That's the pure of...
So let's go inside on Ois Dalit, a page. I don't remember the page. Anyone know the page?
45.
45. Olava hatam, Sarach lahakdim toyu v'tikun. In order to explain why the prohibition, you reach a higher level of Hashem, I'm going to first explain to you the difference between toyu and tikkun. The hainu shvir, you have it?
Dalit, sorry.
Yeah, Dalit.
45.
Shvir, you have it?
Over.
Okay.
Dehainu shvira sakelim to the toyu. Why did the vessels break in toyu? Hoya machma shehoya ha'oirav. There was too much light. Va'kelim ktanim ha'achil, and the vessels were too small from holding the light. V'lo yochla kli lahagbos ha'or. The vessel couldn't contain the light. L'chein nishberu ha'kelim. The vessels broke, like the puzzle broke. V'naflu mata. Va'oiris nistalku ba'atzmas ha'matzel. And the light went up into Hashem. Va'achakach, and after the vessels broke, right? It broke. Then what happened? Nivreru v'niskanu. It became refined and fixed. Va'tikun, what's tikun? Hu shenasa b'chinas partzufim. We put the puzzle back. V'liyas kol mida kol mi'aser. Now we have Atzilut. What does Atzilus do? Atzilus makes that all the 10 sfirot, each one of the 10 is included of the other 10. It's not every one individual. So Chachma of Atzilus has the other 9 in the Chachma. Bina of Atzilus has the other 9 in it. Everything is merged together. There's no more everyone its own. It becomes like a merged puzzle together in Atzilut. Yeah.
What is Partzufim?
All the 10 spheres together is called a Partzuf. It's like a full person. Partzuf is like an image, like I have your whole, a complete puzzle. It's all complete, but this time it's complete because everything is merged one with another. So Chesed has in it all the 9 Sfirot. It has Gevura, Teferes in Chesed. So it's basically the 10 Sfiros is 10 times 10, because each one of the 10 has the other 10 in it. Not a repeat, it includes in it, Chachma has in it the other 9.
Wait a minute.
So Chachma...
10 is 100.
Right. So each...
100, it's not 10 and 10.
Right. Each one of the 10...
20.
Each one of the 10 includes in it the other 10.
So it's got 100.
Exactly.
Okay.
So...
Just the mathematics.
No, so Atzilut... the difference between Atzilut, which is Tikkun. Atzilus and Tikkun is the same thing. And Tohu, in Tohu there's only 10. Because each one is its own. In Atzilut, each one of the 10 has all the 10 in it.
It's infinity, it goes back.
Oh yeah, and then these 10 are broken up into more 10s and this, but the point here is that it's not anymore individual, it's already fixed with everyone else. So it's not going to break. The reason it broke, because it was everyone on its own, it was too much light and there was too much chesed or too much gevura, so it can't handle. You can't have a world which is only chesed. You can't have a world which is only gevura.
So, and Shvirat HaKelim in other, like not in Tohu?
In Tohu.
Only in Tohu Shvirat HaKelim?
It broke. And now that's how we'll soon see how all the world gets its energy. V'ribu hakelim, since Atzilut has so much vessels, it's able to fix the light. What's the secret of Atzilut? Tikkun is Atzilut. Tikkun means fixing. Hu ham'ata ha'or. By diminishing the light, you could fix it. Because when it's too much of chesed or too much of gvura, you can't handle it. V'adarabba. Zuhi siba sheyuchlu lekabel ma'kel. So that's the reason why Atzilus is we call it the world of tikkun, because over there's a lot of vessels, and there's a little light, so the light could merge one with another. It's not so intense, and therefore it could become merge like a puzzle, and therefore you could fix the 10 sfirot, that it's no more individual, it can become merge one with another, and it could relax, it could be, meaning I can handle, if you're chesed, I can handle some gavura, if you're gavura, you can handle some chesed. It's not
relax, maybe, but
I
don't know about relax, but it makes more sense to handle.
You could handle it better. What happened was, when these vessels broke in the world of Tohu, so Atzilut, which is the world of Tikkun, took these vessels and started to fix them. But not everything was able to fix. The broken vessels of Tohu that couldn't be fixed in Atzilus, what happened? Yordu, they went down, lebiyah. What's biyah? B'riya Yetzira Asiya, which is this world. Shenezgalu, and this is where you have neshamot, the souls, malachim. V'lachin yesh koyach malachim lias v'chayis neses akisei, v'alakisei kamadi adam p'chinas oirim v'kel datzilus v'zeu l'fi sheshar shemel matoyu v'oiris detoyu govei ma'oris atikon sh'atikon ma'odas ha'or rak shemacha shviras hakelim nistalko oiris ma'atzilim v'akelim nafel lamata ochin achas shenivra hakelim nisam v'lasan choizel is galas b'hem shor shenois detoyu sh'b'chinas choy melech malchim v'sol. So what he says is a very interesting thing. When the vessels broke and they started to fall, so Atzilus took and refined some of it, but then the rest started to fall lower, which is Bri Yetzir Sira. So the angels, how did the angels come to exist? From the broken vessels of Tohu. When they refine it, they get more power than Atzilut. Because remember, Tohu was before Atzilus. Tohu was higher than Atzilus. What happened was it broke. So it fell low. But once you take this low and you start to refine it and develop it and make it back to its source, you get that energy of Tohu with you. When you get the energy of Tohu with you, you could be above, you could carry the whole Atzilut, meaning because you're above, you're from Tohu.
Bila.
So it's almost like a donkey, which we're going to read in this parsha. Interesting thing, a donkey is the only animal that's not kosher that you're supposed to make a pidyon haben. It sounds funny, but what's a pidyon haben? When you have a firstborn son to a woman's first birth and the father, and natural birth, right? And it's not a coin, you make a pidyon haben. Why? Because Hashem was going to kill the firstborn Egyptians, and He saved the firstborn Jews, so they make a pidyon haben. But in the same thing, it says there, Pete Chamor. In this week's parsha.
Many people call their sons or friend Chamor.
Yeah, all the time.
So you need to consider them like
men. So the funny thing is, why would you have to take a firstborn donkey? It's a strange thing. A firstborn donkey, and you have to redeem it. And a firstborn dog, no. A firstborn dog, a cow, no. Why a donkey? Why a donkey from all the animals of the world? pet a chamor. You have to, till today, if you have a donkey, you do, yeah? How do you do it? You go to the Kohen, you say, Kohen, do me a favor. I want this donkey, but I'll give you something instead. He says, what were you going to give me? He says, I'll give you a goat or a lamb. And they switch, they pigeon, yeah? They do it. Even today, they do it in Israel. As long as you know it's the firstborn donkey to this first mother, and you're not, So the answer is very simple. Chamor is called chumriyut. You know what chumriyut means? Like materialism. So the point is that a chamor is also in the animal, let's call it the animal world, it's the lowest kind of animal, because even in the summer, which is like 105 degrees in Israel, it's cold. In the summer, a donkey is cold. Well, how does he get cold? It represents the lowest part of the world, chumriyut. And our job is to, what we have to do, we have to take these and bring it back up and redeem it, take it out of its chumriyut, and bring it and make it holy to Hashem.
Mashiach will come on Chamor.
What did Moshe do? He took his children on the Chamor. What did Avram do? Chamor. Everyone took Chamor. Avram, Moshe, Mashiach. They all took,
I crossed Israel on the Chamor.
Oh, he also took. Yeah. No.
Really?
Yeah. So the point, what is the point? Our job is to take these broken vessels that fell so low and to bring it back up to holiness. But guess what happens? When I bring the world back to holiness, I now get that energy of Tohu, which is higher than Atzilut. So now I'm much stronger than Atzilut, that I could carry Atzilut. I could be the donkey to hold the whole Atzilut. So the angels, they get their energy from the broken vessels of Tohu, and they elevate it. And when they elevate it, they can carry up the highest level, because they get the strength of Tohu, which is far higher than Tikkun. So basically, it's almost like Hashem made a nice game in this world. Mm-hmm. He created Tohu, which is this beautiful puzzle, broke to pieces, and it's all scattered and gives energy to everything in this world, because it's all left over. And then by us bringing this puzzle back together and elevating it, we're elevating the world, and we're getting this energy from Tohu, which is higher than Atzilut, and therefore that gives us more energy than Atzilut. So now, v'zehu shalidei abitul shebachayis mekavazeh mechalakise shubirutik mashiyesh b'mashviras hakelim sheniver neshadnechuvetohetu aznas gal ma'ora. Right? Once you fix this world and you reveal the light of Tohu that was in this vessel, all of a sudden, the angels could carry God's throne. The angels are already there. They are already totally nullified. What's an angel? An angel already fixed. And he's already, done with the mission. Hanashamas, guess what? Your soul was also. But then what happens? Hashem says, you know what? Your soul is already refined, but I want to send your soul to this world. I want to put it into an animal soul, because you have a godly soul in an animal, and I want to put it in a physical body. I want to put it in a physical world, and I want you to elevate the world. I know your soul is good. The angels are good, but I want you to come to this world, to this. Now, how many? You.
Everybody.
You.
Every individual.
Everyone. V'hine, how many partners do we have to make a human being? Gimel, Shutfim, B'Adam. There's 3 partners that make you. What's the 3 partners? Of, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Father, Mother, and Hashem. What does Hashem give you? The neshama. Kamoi Cain, he says. What are you laughing? I'm telling you.
I just thought of what Trump did.
Trump.
Male and female. That's it. I just said
No
it.
connection, no connection.
No other
No connection. No, not now. You are.
We're getting in the wrong one. Wow.
You're in the right rhythm.
You're thinking all about one mind thinking.
Oh, Chas
What do you think about
Three
it?
more people are getting free.
Okay.
That actually reminds me something else. Abba, Ima, and the Kadosh.
Amen.
Well, let's go further. No, okay, so a human being is made from a father, mother, and God. He says same thing with an animal. Let's take a cow, a goat, has the body, the female, the male, but there's a nefesh. There's a soul in an animal. Not the same level as a human, but there's a soul there. Where does that come from? God. So even an animal has... So now, what does God want us to do with all the animals? We have to elevate it and get it up from Tohu, bring it back, right? Because it broke. The animals are created from the broken vessels of Tohu that gives the energy for the animals. What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to refine it.
Everything broke from Tohu?
Everything in this world
Yeah.
that is not holy, not mezuzahs, not tefillin, not your soul, but anything like your body, your animal, any physical thing is getting its energy from the broken vessels of Tohu.
But not your soul.
Not your godly soul.
Not your soul.
No.
Right.
Your animal soul, your body, any physical thing, earth, animals get their energy to exist from the broken vessels of Tohu. And what is our job? To refine it, to bring the puzzle back together. How? Look what you're supposed to do. What do you think? You're supposed to eat sushi like this? There's a reason why you're eating sushi. V'heim is badarin al yidei ha'adam sha'oichlon. When you eat chicken, or you eat meat, or you eat vegetables, you are refining the energy that's in them and you're elevating it back to holiness. That's your job. And guess what else happens? Over koyach she'achal, then another thing, what happens when you eat, you get energy. And then what do you do with the energy? You say Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. So that means what gave you the energy to say Shema Yisrael was the chicken or the sushi. So that means you just elevated the sushi to say Shema Yisrael. Wow, what a sushi this is. Now I know why the sushi is so happy to be here. And then what happens after you say Echad? V'yahavta es Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha. All of a sudden I love God b'shnei yitzarecha, with both my godly soul and my animal soul. And then the next thing is b'chol moedecha, which is mesirat nefesh. I'm ready to give up my life for Hashem. So now what happens? Al yidei zeh nivru gam behemoths. So by me eating the animals, and then I'm davening and learning, I'm refining it and bringing it back to its world of Tohu. V'chol advarim b'aldei zeh mizgala ora me'eretz haTorah. So now what happens is, so basically all the kosher food, all the kosher things that I do, what is happening with it? I'm lifting it up, taking it away from the broken vessels, and they become back refined, and now I have the energy of Tohu in me. Clear?
Yeah.
V'chein, he says, kishoyis mitzvahs aseh. This is when you eat. How about if you do a positive mitzvah like shofar? Well, how does a shofar come? From a horn? From an animal. Sukkah. You take wood from a tree. You cover it with this. Lulav. Tzitzis is made from wool. Tefillin is made from skin of an animal. So what are you all doing? You're refining and elevating the world. And therefore, Mamshichin, his galus, ha'idis, the tayush and estalku, sheyim shech v'kelim t'tikin. V'chol zeh, this is all b'dvarim ha'mutarim l'ficha. All this is the positive. The kosher food, you're doing mitzvahs with things that you're allowed to. Masha'ein kein dvarim ha'asur, and what happens with the things that you can't eat? Food that's not kosher, you didn't take off Truma, Shelo Yechulas Halas, what happens? How do you elevate that? You're telling me that by eating things, I elevate it. By using the shofar for good things, I'm elevating it. But what's with the things the Torah says, no, don't. How do they get elevated?
You donate.
Oh, in Tzarech L'Haven. So I'll tell you a secret. The don't is not just a don't because I'm not elevating it, no. By saying no to it, I'm really elevating it to even a higher level. How? Anyone familiar with the Merkava?
Yeah.
So how many animals? How many images? Aryeh, Shor, Nesher, and Adam. So there's a concept in Kabbalah. It's from Yechezkel, that God has like a throne. Let's say like a kind of a nice chair to sit on. God doesn't need a chair, but it's the idea of him. And it's made with 4 images: a lion on the right, an ox on the left, an eagle.
4D.
Yeah, an eagle is in the back, and the image of a person is in the front. So when you say the lion is on the right, what does it mean the lion is on the right? God has a right side or a left side? It means it's right represents chesed, kindness. Right represents a higher level, and left represents a lower level. So the lion is a much higher level. It's chesed. It's on the right side represents a much more revealed godliness. Left represents the lower level. Guess what?
It's opposite.
This world, could you eat a lion?
No.
How about a cow?
Yeah.
Yes. So in the spiritual world, the lion is on a higher level. When it comes down here, you can't eat
It
it.
doesn't need your elevation.
Oh, the cow is on a lower level in the spiritual. When it comes here, you could eat it. So what does it teach you? Something that's higher goes to a much lower level, which you can't eat. Something that's lower comes to a level where you could elevate and refine. So that means something that's forbidden means it comes from a higher level. So a lion that you can't eat because in its shoresh, in its root, it comes from a higher level. A cow and a goat that you could eat because in its root it comes from a lower level, so you could connect to it. It's something you could ingest. But a lion is such a high level, there's no way you could ingest it in you because it's too much for you. So the only way you could do it is by not eating it.
That's too much energy.
Exactly. You're going to plot. So what does he do? So he says, "V'yuchol es al yedei adam she'echol makirei shadeizen es alam etz ha'asher mash'en ken ha'aryeh hu mechayes ha'tmeyos." The aryeh is animals you're not allowed to eat. You can't even use the skin of a lion to write tefillin. When you write tefillin, it has to be from skin from kosher animals. So, okay, let's say I can't eat a lion, but I can't use the skin. So he says, listen to this. Interesting thing, if you look on a fruit has a shell and has the fruit. What comes first, the shell or the fruit? Shell. Then what do you eat? The fruit. So the shell comes first, but that you don't eat. The fruit that comes second, that you do eat. So what's a higher level, the shell or the fruit?
Sure.
So the shell comes from a higher level, but that you're not going to eat. That you're going to throw out. You don't eat watermelon shells, you throw it out.
Because the light is hitting the shell.
So he says, since the shell in its shoresh comes from a higher level, that's why it falls lower, and you can't eat it. The fruit that comes from a lower level, that's why it doesn't fall so low, and you could eat it. So this is what he says, Shaklipa kamel li lo shaklipa mamash kamel bri. Elo sha'or v'chayes hamalubish v'seichai B'chinas Golas, U'nafal Shofar Meshiras HaKelim. The klipa, the shell, comes from such a high level, so Hine Mehadregas Alirnis Yesam Priyatza comes from a higher level than the fruit. So therefore the fruit you could eat, and the shell you don't eat. I mean, the shell itself is nothing. What's a shell? You throw it out, you don't eat it, but you know that where its root, it comes from a very high level. But since it comes from such a high level, it fell so low that it's just a peel and you throw it in garbage. It has no significance. Because it comes from so high, it's able to fall so low. So the same thing with Tohu and Tika. Aryeh, which is the lion, it comes from a much higher level. Therefore, when it comes down to this world, what happens? Lamata, it's much lower. Chayet Tmeya. Ulamata, and it's lower than the ox. Because the lion is like the shell compared to the ox, which is the fruit. You know that interesting concept? Avraham represents chesed. Because Avram's whole life was chesed, giving. But it says in the Talmud, Yotza mimenu Yishmael. From Avram came out a Yishmael. What does it mean? Pirush Yotza mimenu. What does it mean Yishmael came out? B'chinesigum shenifru mazov. Va'az nasa Avram akol ha'tetzig ma'kesu achashut ma'asigin. Uveish ha'dekem le'kelim teho. He called Yishmael gam chines Avram. V'nasa shviyas hakel Yishmael. He says an interesting thing. Who is a bigger tzaddik, Yishmael or Yitzchak? Yitzchak. But who is the firstborn, Yishmael? What's going on here?
It's coming from higher level.
Therefore, he fell lower. And that's why he's a Rasha. And that's why you have to throw him out of the house. But he came first because his root is on a higher level. That's why he fell so low.
If he will be able to be elevated, or might be elevating himself.
So then he'll be higher than Yitzchak.
Exactly.
Yeah. But the only one that can elevate him is Yitzchak. Tohu, like Tikkun. You know, what happened? Tohu is the broken vessel. And it falls so low. And then our job is to go and elevate it. Who does it? Yitzchak, all the Jewish people, the children of Yitzchak, we elevate it, and if we could elevate Yishmael, the Arabs, if we could, then they'll taka be high. How? But they're gonna be how? So first you have to get rid of them.
Oh.
And then you can elevate them.
How's that? I like that plan.
No.
How's that make sense?
But if you get rid of them,
we're going to see in a minute. No, it's like the lo sesa. What's a lo sesa? A lo sesa is don't eat pork. Don't wear wool and linen. What is that? By pushing it away, you're really reaching the light in there that's so hidden. But the only way to get it is by pushing it. By resisting it, you're getting the energy away from it, and that stays in the garbage, and you keep the energy. So the same thing with Yishmael. Yishmael was born first, but eventually Avraham took all the good out of Yishmael, threw him out of the house, and Yishmael is just a piece of klipa, a real klipa, like just a shell, and gezai gezind. And Avram yatsa mimenu. What's yatsa mimenu? Before Yishmael was refined, Yishmael was like included in Avraham. So you looked at Avraham, you saw, no, he had a fruit, he had a shell. But as Avraham worked on the chesed, he got all the good out of Yishmael, and now Yishmael is just left with the shell. So he threw him out of the house with his mother. Says, I get out of here. You're finished. There's nothing holy left in you. I took all the sparks of Tohu out of you. And now I have it.
But if we would do it differently, and take him, and elevate him, he could save us a lot of trouble.
1 minute, 1 second.
Is this the shachor shel Torah also?
What's
part of
the black and white?
Yes. So this is part of the black of the Torah, because if Abraham's doing that kind of thing to his son, taking the kedusha, taking everything from him, and then zayin gizun,
Shchora ani ונאוה. By throwing him out of the house, that's how I become beautiful.
they would never understand that.
But think about Eretz Yisrael, right? If we throw them all into Egypt and to whatever Trump is saying them, Jordan. So now you took out all the holiness out, and now you have a beautiful Eretz Yisrael. In other words, elevating the spark means I'm taking away from them the good holiness. Just like the Jews were in Mitzrayim for 200 years. Why were they there?
Refining.
Taking out the sparks. They took out 202 sparks of Mitzrayim. 8 of Rav. Rav is 202. Reish Beis. They elevated it. And now they go, and then what does Hashem say? Don't go back to Egypt anymore. There's nothing for you to do. The sparks are already out. It's all garbage. So the question is how the Rambam ended up living there. And that's a separate question. But the Torah says, I think 3 or 4 times, don't go back to Egypt. Don't go back to Egypt. Why does the Torah have to tell us that? Because your mission was to take the good and bring it back to Tohu. You did it, goodbye, no more. The same thing now all around the world. All the places where Jews used to be, like Iraq, Iran, you know that the Talmud was written in Iraq?
Yeah.
1,500 years ago? You know that they had yeshivas there with hundreds of thousands of Jews? Nardaha, Pumbedisa. It was like the highest spiritual level.
It was the Yavnish.
Talmud is what we survive on.
So what happened?
But now, which Jew is in Iraq?
But
Gone. Why? We elevated all the sparks of Iraq. We elevated all the sparks of Iran. Don't go back there. We're finished. Tunisia, we're finished. Morocco, we're finished. Now we have to go back to Eretz Yisrael, but we still have to get America refined. America has a lot to do here. You have to refine California. You have to refine all the sparks that are here.
Being done as we speak.
Exactly. And as we refine it, we're going to go back to Eretz Yisrael. It's very simple.
we're saying that spiritualism.
You too?
Of course. We're all going back.
Rabbi, we're saying that spiritualism is in a low level in our time compared to.
Yeah, of course.
But according to what you're saying, we're taking all the sparks
Out.
out.
But we're so low. We're so low. That's why we could take it out, you know? We're the lowest of low. I mean, Moshe Rabbeinu.
Yeah.
Oh, whiskey, he won.
Rambam.
Imagine, Ilan, imagine Moshe Rabbeinu was here today in Tenafly, New Jersey. He would faint. He would faint what he sees here.
He's very simple and humble.
Not that. It's not. It's
easily.
It's a world with such klipa, such proskite, that you need a proclamation from the President of the United States. You should know. You want to hear some chidush? He came up with the biggest chidush. There's 2 kinds of people, men and women. I didn't know that. If not his proclamation, I wouldn't have known such a thing. It's a chidush, mamash gadol. Wow. I just found out the president made a new rule. You know, we're living in such a mixed up world.
Yeah.
So that's what it says.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's why it says Moshe Rabbeinu.
So it's at the end of the world. That's it.
This is it.
Now only God can create again the year.
No, he wants us to do it.
We can.
But I'll tell you an interesting
We have
thing.
to.
It says Va'ish Moshe.
Doing it every day. What do you think?
Every day.
Va'ish Moshe Anav Mikol Ha'adam Al Shepnei Adam. It says Moshe was the most humble person from anyone on the face of the earth. You know what the Talmud says? What was he the most humble? Hashem showed Moshe every generation that's going to happen. You know, for the Jews, all the generations to come. He saw the last generation before Mashiach.
Yeah.
He became so humbled. He said, I don't know how they do this. I feel so small compared to them. Why? We're living in a time where God is so hidden. The truth is so hidden. And still we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
We're still eating kosher and putting on tefillin and doing... God, Moshe says, you guys are much better than me.
Of course.
But when I lived, I had God revealed. I spoke to God.
Not only
Everything is there. Everything...
Am Israel, Bnei Israel, and they still חטאו.
Exactly. ואין כמה שגבוה יוסף בשורשי, כשנויפל בבחינת שבירת הכלים, נויפל למטה יוסף, right? Anything that's higher falls much lower, ולכן גם בעניין שבירת הכלים לתוהו. יש כמה בחינת שמה שנופל למטה יוסף. Why did it fall so low? זהו מפני ששורשי גבוה יוסף. שהיה אוירס גבוהים יוסף. The light was higher. ולכן הכלים ונפלו בכוח למטה יוסף. So anything that's higher and more intense energy falls much, much lower. Remember that. It had so much energy and that's why it was able to push it down much lower. ויש בחינת הכלים שנשברו ונפלו לשאר בחינת בהמות וחיות מותרים. But the ones that are even higher fell into the things that you're not allowed to eat. So that means it comes from a higher level. So then he ends off. When you do the loisasa, which is the mitzvahs that you not to do, like don't do this, don't. Hakoil, they're all b'dvarim asurim. Don't do this, don't eat this. Shesharsham gavoya. They come from a higher level than the permissible things. Like the lion is higher than the ox, because the lion comes from a higher, that's why when you do the loisasa, which is what? Not to do. Turn the page. Hapnim makif in the klipa. By not eating what you're not allowed to eat, or you don't become tamei, and all the fences that the Chachamim made, ruach hatuma yavim in oretz, you get rid of all the evil. You're not going to have anything hidden. Which is even higher from the mitzvah saseh, the pnei aryeh is higher than pnei shor. So in other words, by you not doing what you're not supposed to do, you're revealing a much higher light than by doing what you should do. You get what I'm saying? So in other words, the maskana, this is finishes for today. The maskana is very simple. Our job in this world is to fix the broken vessels.
By doing and not doing.
Exactly. By doing it, we're fixing the lower broken vessels, and by not doing, we're fixing the higher broken vessels. And therefore, by not doing, I extract the energy of that not doing thing, and I elevate it back to Tohu, and that's a much higher energy than the doing, and that's going to bring the revelation of Mashiach more than the doing. And that's interesting why there's 365 not doing in the Torah, and there's only 248 doing. Because there's a lot more energy in the not than there is in the yes. Is it clear or no?
Yeah.
So it's funny, and we spoke about it last time, it's much harder for someone not to do something than to do something. The Rebbe always used to say when it comes to like Shabbos, and you want to get someone to start doing something on Shabbos, don't tell him first what he can't do on Shabbos. That's too much for him. The energy is too high. First, let's tell him what you could do on Shabbos. Come make kiddush, make hamotzi, light the candles. That's the first step. Let's do what you could do. So that's the lower. Then he'll get to the higher level, which is what not. But first start with what you could. That's the lower light. He can handle the lower. You're going to tell him the not, it's going to break his vessels. He's not going to be able to handle it. It's too much. It's so confusing. That's the whole thing. The Talmud, while learning Talmud, which we're giving a course on the next week, What's the whole idea of Talmud? It's all the questions of why not, why, like going in deeper. And the end of the story is you don't even walk out with knowing what to do. Because it's not about knowing what to do. It's about understanding. It's the understanding of the knowledge of the wisdom of Hashem. That's what Talmud is. The more wisdom is in the not. It's a higher level wisdom.
Somebody said last week.
You got?
Who?
Yeah, that's right. There is. Where would they learn it in Shir Shirim? It says it.
Why you say
No, we said it last
Week
week.
somebody said on the
What?
recording.
Yeah.
Well, that's the truth.
Yeah.
So, anyways, the point is, Chavra, when your wife says not to do something, it's a higher level than when she says to do
Only
something.
if you listen.
If you listen,
Otherwise it has no energy.
no energy. Anyways, Hashem should help. It should be a Chodesh Tov. We should get rid of all the Hamas and all the evil. All the hostages should be home. Everyone should be healthy, and all the soldiers should be safe. And Israel should spread all over, and it should be the best world for everyone in a revealed way. Amen.
Amen.
Chodesh Tov, l'chaim, l'chaim.